Hey everyone, and welcome to Talk a Good Game. International break is over. It's back to the Premier League as West Ham take on Southampton down at the St Mary's. Gonzo, your thoughts as always on Southampton, please.
Oh, I really like Southampton. I like the club. I like the way they've gone about their business over recent years. I'm a great admirer of the way that they recruit, and certainly the way that they've built up their academy. Just some of the players that have come through there in recent years, not just through their academy, but people like Sadio Mane, for instance, who they buy and then sell on. Virgil van Dijk. The list is. I think if we sat down now and tried to do a list of them all, and the academy ones as well, with Gareth Bale and all the rest of it, I bet even between us there would still be some high-profile ones that we'd have forgotten. They're really quite remarkable at it, and actually the model club for doing that, really, mate. I think.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. We are big admirers. We've always praised Southampton. Coming into the transfer window at the end of last season, coming into the transfer window that we just had, I thought they need to get it right because I thought last season they were in relegation form. You know, if you look at Christmas to the end of the season, they were down the bottom of the table. That was relegation form, and I was a bit worried about them. And I'm still a bit uncertain, to be honest with you. We'll get into it in a bit more detail, but I agree with you. I think during COVID, I thought they got a lot right, including backing the manager, say to him, "Look, you get your fingerprints all over this club." Something we're witnessing at West Ham in a minute, and it's for the better. It's for the greater good at West Ham. And I think Southampton benefited from that as well a few months before we did. And they've had a few, not a rocky relationship, but they've had a few tests aboard in terms of the manager of Hasenhüttl. Do you back him or do you sack him? Because they've conceded 9 goals in 2 games in 2 seasons. That doesn't happen. The form last season was horrific. You'd forgive them for getting a little bit worried if they've got the right manager at the club, but they've kept him, they've backed him in the transfer market again. Is it enough? I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, definitely a role model club, if you like, off the pitch in terms of growing it organically. But before we discuss a bit more Southampton, I've got a question for you viewers at home. On your phone, do you have an app that's yellow? Do you have a yellow app? Do you have the best football app for football fans, in mine and Gonzo's opinion? You got it?
I've got it.
What's it called?
It's called the One Football app. And it is indeed yellow. It is indeed on my phone. And it is indeed on, the best app. It's the best app, Geo. It's fantastic. We like it because we get to put all the West Ham stuff into one place. It sends you a lovely little notification to say, "Oi, you, here's the West Ham news." But if you are, perchance, a Southampton fan and you're watching this, don't worry. You don't even have to know about the West Ham news, because what it will say was when you download this free app, it will say, "Who do you follow?" And you would just say Southampton, and it would aggregate all the Southampton news for you.
As Gonzo said, it's completely free. Link is in the description in the pinned comments. Get it downloaded at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. You get a notification on your phone that says lineups announced. Swipe it, and you get graphically, it tells you the formations and everything of the starting 11s of both teams. Get it downloaded today. You shall not regret it, and have a yellow app on your phone. Right, Gonzo, Southampton. What's a good season for them? What do they have to achieve or accomplish or avoid so that in May you say that's a good year for them?
Well, I think you've got to separate what is generally a good year for them and what will be a good year this year. Because whilst I said I think their model is very good, I like what they've done, I think they're now on the cusp of selling too many players, and I think they've. I don't want to say got away with it, because I don't think they've been lucky. I think there's been strategic planning, and I think they've handled the sale of all of these players, which I as I say, more Liverpool bought loads of them, and then there's been others as well. But they seem to have handled it really, really well. So they'll lose Van Dijk, okay, not a problem. They'll bring someone else in, lose Marnie, someone else comes in. There'll be another guy coming through from the academy. So I don't want to say they've got away with it, because it's part of their planning. But I think you can only go to the well so many times before it's dry, And I'm a little bit worried that this may well be the point that they've oversold and they've sold too many. And it's the hardest one of all. I remember them selling Ricky Lambert, for instance, which I know is not the biggest name for us to talk about in this whole thing. But he was a Premier League goal scorer. Well, this time they really did have a Premier League goal scorer and one of the best in your fella, Danny Ings. That's a hell of a thing to do. I think sometimes you can get away with selling a fullback, or you can. They released Ryan Bertrand, didn't they? For instance, was somebody. I think you can get away with doing that in some positions. I think the moment you do it with somebody who's possibly going to get you 15 to 20 goals, then that's a very, very different thing. So you better hope that replacement is getting you 15 to 20 goals. So after that long-winded answer to what do I think would be a good season for this season, I think top 15.
Yeah, I think it sounds bad being a Southampton. If you're a Southampton fan watching this for the first time, go back and watch last season's previews, because we normally big you up quite a lot. I think they'll be closer to relegation than 10th. I do. I think this could be a long season for Southampton. I think they're a bit like the Norwich for me. You look at the transfer business, and on paper, I would sort of declare it as interesting, like Crystal Palace too. If it works, it's genius. You brought in players at affordable prices, young. If it clicks, happy days. You are winning. Their transfer market doubles, trebles, quadruples over the course of the season. You see some good football. But if you get it wrong, the results are disastrous. The results are relegation battle. And I can only echo what you said about Danny Ings, because Adam Armstrong was a top striker in the Championship. But this isn't Championship football. And he's had a good start at Southampton so far, a really good goal against Everton and that. But I'm still a bit cautious, because I think Che Adams is a 10-goal-a-season striker. I think Adam Armstrong, we'll wait and see, but I would suggest he's maybe a 10-goal-a-season striker as well. But like you said, Danny Ings was a 20-goal-a-season striker. You're missing a lot of goals there, and who's going to get them? And I just worry for Southampton a little bit, because towards the end of the season, take out Ings are not scoring loads of goals, but they're also conceding a lot of goals as well. And I think they've got possibly the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League in terms of all the number ones. Alex McCarthy is not a good goalkeeper. I think West Ham got 2, possibly even 3 goalkeepers better than him. We do. I don't think he's much better than Darren Randolph. Honestly, I don't think he is. I think he's a poor goalkeeper for the Premier League. And while goal scorers score goals and win you points, keepers stop goals and win you points. And I'm not sure he's going to be stopping enough, quite frankly. I think Southampton's, it's risky business. I think what they've done is risky. I don't think the squad depth's there quite much. But saying that, transfer window, while I call it risky, how did you judge them? Obviously, Danny Ings left. Ryan Bertrand went out on a free. He was the main departures of the club. But they brought in some interesting players.
Well, they lost Vestergaard as well, didn't they?
Yes, you're right. He went to Leicester City near deadline day.
Yeah, these are big players. Look,
he was poor. He was poor last season, Vestergaard. I think. I think it's a good deal, that.
Okay, fair enough. But I can't listen. I know you're going to want to talk about the right back in a second, so I'll leave you with that one. But I mean, I don't know that much about their business, to be perfectly honest with you. But I do. We have seen a lot of Armstrong, and I remember him being talked about at Newcastle, and then obviously we were linked with him, so we had a good look at Blackburn. It's hard to say whether that would be good business or not. Is he the next Danny Ings? Quite possibly, but he also might be a Neil Mopai, who is okay. And he might not even get to 10 goals. I suspect he might. But there's a lot on that, and you talk about those extra 10 goals. That does equate to a lot of points, and in tight games as well. That's the difference between obviously a 1-1 draw and a 2-1 win and stuff like that. And if that happens in 10 games, you get quite a lot of swing of points there. So I'm gonna hold my hands up and say I don't know an awful lot about the guys that they've signed. Although they do have a player who I did laugh. Remember, we've had Andy Carroll. We always laugh about players with ladies' names. They've got a player who's got 2 ladies' names, because they've got a player called Sally Sue, which I think is always very interesting, and it's bound to give you a chance, Gio.
I'll give you that one. That was quite funny. I think their defensive, their left back, never heard of him. Perud, how you pronounce his name, never heard of him. Looked all right so far. I've seen a bit rash, but I think he'll come good. Statistically, he looks very good. They've signed him from Brest. Hopefully, it's not a boob of a transfer.
He knows Areola, apparently.
Hey, The centre back, never heard of him. The right back, however, Livramento, never heard of him. But I tell you what, wow, I am impressed by this guy. I'm aware it's literally 2 or 3 games, okay? But it's a bit like the Tariq Lamptey thing. It's very identical, actually. They've come from Chelsea. They're both right backs. They get forward extremely well. And when they played Man United, I thought he was the best player on the pitch. Forget Pogba, forget Bruno Fernandes, forget Cavani. I thought this guy was the best player on the pitch. He was just relentless, getting up and down that right side, skinning players. He was up against Pogba quite a lot directly. He was just going past him as if he wasn't there. 18 years of age. This boy looks like he's got a big, big future in the game. Like I said, I am cautious because it's only a handful of fixtures. But sometimes when you watch a player, you can just tell. You can just think, this guy's got it. He reads the game well. And he's someone we're going to have to be a bit cautious for. They've got a guy's name I cannot pronounce. Elianusi. Yeah, that's him. He was on loan at Celtic last season, done quite well in a goal every 2 games or something. So he'll be interesting. But while you speak about Adam Armstrong, I'm more interested by the other striker they've signed on loan from Chelsea. I don't know how you pronounce it again, Broa. And the interesting thing, what makes me interested about him is at the start of the transfer window, Chelsea refused to loan him out. There was a couple of clubs wanting to loan him, Dutch clubs, because he was in Netherlands last season and done quite well. And there's a couple of Dutch clubs trying to get him on loan. And Chelsea just would not loan him out at all. And he was involved in pre-season friendlies, scoring in pre-season friendlies for Chelsea. Granted, so was Tammy Abraham. But I thought, okay, that's an indication there. So when Southampton got him, I thought that's interesting that they would sell them Livramento with a buyback clause, but they wouldn't sell him the striker. No, you can have him for the season, but that's it. So I think Chelsea have got high hopes for this striker. He probably won't start against us on Saturday, but I wouldn't be surprised if come the end of the season, they're looking at him thinking, we need goals here. Armstrong's maybe not cut it. Adams is at his ceiling, and he's an average Premier League striker.
As I said, he was sort of Scottish. Well, he's not Scottish, but he plays for
But the problem is, you can have 2 or 3 average Premier League strikers, but that's it. You need a good one as well, and I think they've just got too many average strikers. But anyway, enough about Southampton. Do you want to discuss West Ham?
Yes, we probably should just say, it won't be a Southampton preview without saying how good Ward Prowse is.
Oh yeah, players we admire. I forgot about that question.
Go on.
Ward Prowse for me, I think he's fantastic.
I quite like that Gineppo. He looks all right whenever
I knew you were going to say it. He's...
I've got high hopes for Sally Sue.
Brilliant. Well,
be like a triple date.
Nice threesome there. You'll enjoy yourself there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Be better than the combo of Helen and Helena.
Absolutely. Oh, don't knock it, mate. Don't knock it till you tried it.
I actually liked Kyle Walker-Peters, their right back last season. I thought he was a really good right back. I was a bit surprised Southampton got in a right back and put him in immediately. Because I really like Kyle Walker-Peters actually, but Ward Prowse is one of my favourite non-West Ham players.
Well, he played at left back in their last game. Yeah, Peters. So the old new side him got the elbow, but yeah, he done nothing wrong, has he, Walker-Peters, to lose his right back spot. But yeah, good player.
Anyway, right, West Ham time. The goalkeeper situation, Fabianski, not the best against Crystal Palace. Got Areola there, who's sort of been breathing down his neck before the season even kicked off. Now, we have a little bit of a situation in because we've got the Europa League game on Thursday, haven't we? So, sorry, Southampton fans, we're in European football and we cannot wait. We are in European football. I think it gives Moyes a bit of a cop-out, actually. I think if we didn't have that Europa League game, I think Moyes might have had to drop Fabianski and Areola in. But because we've got the game a few days later, I think he can get away with keeping Fabianski in and using Areola in the Europa League like that. And I think he sort of allows him to kick the can down the road a little bit and having to make the call. Who would you like to see and who do you expect to see in goal?
I'd like to see Areola. I don't think Moyes needs to kick the can down the road. I understand what you're saying, but I hope he won't do that. I would like a look at him. There's no reason not that he... Actually, having said that, I've just changed my mind. We're already changing one part of the defence for this game, actually. So do you want to change the goalkeeper at the same time? It might be better in terms of communication if you only change one component at a time. So actually, I'll keep Fabianski in.
I think I would change it. Despite what I've just said, there's a flip side to that, which is it allows Moyes to play Fabianski a few days later as well. So while he does drop in, Fabianski's back and go for Thursday. I would like to bring in Areola because at the moment, the Premier League is still the bread and butter. Should we lose on Thursday, priority must be the next Europa League game. But I think whilst the Europa League still to kick off, I think the Premier League is your must-win games for now. So I would put Areola in. So now you've just hinted there, Kurt Zouma obviously a signing for West Ham. I assume that's a change you'd like to see, and if so, which centre back are you dropping?
I didn't say I play him at centre half. All right, I'll get on with it. I will drop Virgil van Dawson, the Dawsonator. I think for this one, Geo. Yeah, I think that's the only decision to make, really.
Can you say why? Because I'm not going to lie, that's what I would do as well. But I often criticise Craig Dawson. So can you do it for a change? So I can just say I agree with you.
Well, I mean, he's the worst person in the defence in the first 3 games. It's as simple as that. That's what you do. Also, I've not seen enough of Zouma, but the stuff I remember seeing, he is a right-sided central defender whenever I've seen him play. Obviously, Ogbonna plays on the left. That is something that I don't think is paid enough attention to sometimes. I don't mean by West Ham, but just generally. I know people should often think, well, a centre-half's a centre-half, right? Well, no, not that they can actually get really used to playing in their favoured position. And we've seen it so many times, actually, when Ogbonna's been out and we've had to sort of shoehorn Diop in there. I think Diop's a lot more comfortable as a right-sided centre-half than the left-sided centre-half, for instance. So I think that's another reason not to rock the boat as well. And there's been a couple of individual, little individual errors there, if you like, as well. Although I don't think he did badly. He didn't do terribly against Newcastle, that being said. But there were... He's got to be the one to go, Gio. He's got to be the one to go.
Yeah, I would like to bring in Kurt Zouma as well. I think it's an outstanding signing from us, really. I think he's so good. He walks into that team, really. And I think Dawson's the one that has to make way for me because excellent against Leicester City, but I thought he was poor against Newcastle. I thought he was poor against Crystal Palace again. So Kurt Zouma, for me, has to go in there into that back four. It's the only change they're making the back four as well. I think Kurt Zouma's comfortable on the left. I think I've seen him play for Chelsea anywhere along as a centre-back pair in either side, but also along the back three as well. France played a back three the other night against Finland, and he didn't really have much to do, but Kurt Zouma was involved in the back three there. So I think that's another reason that David Moyes maybe brought him to West Ham, that he is comfortable playing in that formation too. So if we ever wanted to switch it to our 3-5-2 formation, we can do using the personnel we've got available, and Kurt Zouma can cover the left, centre, and the right of that back three too. He's very versatile. I agree with what you're saying. Defenders have certain sides. Van Dijk plays on the left despite being right-footed for Liverpool. I do think Kurt Zouma is actually quite versatile as the way he plays along the centre-back. Now, the other two signings we made, Alex Kral and Nikola Vlasic, would you like to see either of these involved, or is it a little bit different for these two?
Oh, involved, yes, but I wouldn't start them. I don't, because obviously we've not really got a problem scoring goals at the moment, so I wouldn't tinker with that aspect, that part of the team. Certainly not. However, when we got to a point in the last game where against Palace where we needed a goal, and I felt he looked at the bench, and Moyes couldn't have been confident in his selections that they were going to get us a goal. And I know certainly when I was watching it and I saw Yarmolenko coming on, it didn't fill me with confidence that we were going to get a goal. In many respects, I thought Yarmolenko was too desperate to get a goal, which is why he tried to win the game with a shot, when really, if you've looked at West Ham play this season already, we tend to play the ball, almost play it like rugby. We tend to move the ball incrementally across the face of goal and then attack. And so at least Moyes will look at it and he'll think, well, okay, I've got some options here as well. It's going to be more difficult for Krau than Vlasic, I've got to say, because you'll get sick of that. Everyone will get sick of that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they will a little bit.
They will. Well, maybe not yet. Maybe in a season or two. It'll be more difficult for Krau because they're just harder to shift, I feel. How many times does David Moyes sub Declan Rice and Thomas Soucek? The European game might bring a different dynamic. So he might want to, if things are good after 75 minutes, he might think, okay, I'll rest him for 15 minutes and then start him against Europe. However, he is more than happy to substitute Bowen or Benrahma or Fornells or anybody like that, or Antonio. So we may find that there's not equal opportunities for all of those new signings.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think I wouldn't start Vlasic or Kral either. Bench certainly, but not started. And they haven't been involved in training. That Vlasic only arrived at Rush Green yesterday for a start. But even if they arrived at Rush Green a week ago, I still wouldn't start them for the reason you've given, which is the players deserve to retain their places on merit. At the minute, Benrahma, Fornals and Bowen shirts, they're not up for grabs at the minute. Sorry, Nicola, mate. You're going to have to wait till one of them play badly, and then you can get one. And the same with Alex Kral's almost got a bit of an impossible job, really, isn't he? But what I would like to see going forward, using Alex Kral, isn't necessarily to be a direct placement for Rice or Soucek, even though against Crystal Palace, I thought Rice in particular was poor and probably deserved to be subbed, but there's just no one to bring on for him. So if we've got someone that is good enough to say to Rice, well, off you come, mate. You know, you've had 70 minutes, you're not being very good, we're going to take you off. I don't ever see that scenario happening. But what I could maybe see with Alex Kral is playing him alongside Rice and pushing Soucek up the pitch a little bit. If things were getting a little bit desperate and we needed a goal, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Jared Bowen come off and the Soucek go up the park and Kral goes in next to Declan Rice, and we can change the way we play almost, because Vlasic is a very like-for-like substitution with Bowen or Benrahma or Fornals. It's a very similar, you come out, you go in, and we'll continue to play the same way. But sometimes it's not just player performance that's the reason you're struggling. Sometimes it's just that the tactics or the system just isn't working. The other man just got you sussed out a little bit. You need to mix up. And I think moving Soucek up the pitch a little bit is the one way we can change the way we play completely. Because we've probably got, bar Liverpool, probably got the best set of crossers from the full-backs area in Creswell and SOUWHU. And we can't really take advantage of it with Benrahma and Bowen and Fornals in the box. Only Antonio can get on the end of it. And I feel in the last 6 months, towards the end of last season, as well as the first 3 games this season, we've not really exploited or utilised Soucek's aerial dominance. Sure. Really, it's been a while since I've seen Soucek getting on the end of a cross and getting a header at goal kind of thing. Corners maybe, but certainly not that. In Southampton, they've conceded the second most headed shots at goal so far this season. So there is something there for West Ham to exploit on Saturday afternoon, usually from set pieces, but Soucek in particular, I think we need to use him a little bit more. I'll tell you what, though, Kurt Zouma is an absolute beast in the air at set pieces. I wasn't really going to mention it. I am looking forward to a corner with Kurt Zouma in the box. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be rubbing my hands on Saturday afternoon watching Kurt Zouma get on the end of a header. But that's your starting 11 then, is it? Zouma in, and that's it. I would take in Zouma and Areola, but that remains the same.
Yeah, that'll do for me. Yeah, I mean, I only changed my mind quite late as I changed my own mind. I made up my mind and changed it all in the same sentence regarding Areola, just because I think, okay, let's not change 2 component parts of the defence on the same game. But yeah, I think Areola will. I would like to see him. I would like to see what he can do, certainly.
International football's done and dusted. Been a decent international bit for our players, to be fair. For Niles, Rice, SOUWHU, Soucek, Vlasic scoring for Croatia as well. Looking forward to this game on Saturday, though. Now Premier League football's back.
I am. I actually thought that was a good game last night. I know it was a draw in the end for England, but actually it was an entertaining game. I know. Sorry, we digress slightly, but that was it got really feisty, didn't it? You saw the guy grabbing Carl Walker's neck, and he was. Thought, wow, did you see him? He was pulling it. I thought, wow, as he stayed on the pitch. So I knew it was going to get a bit tasty going into half time. But I thought it was entertaining. I'm just glad nobody got injured. Rice will feel that he's, as you mentioned, has had a good run out. I'm pleased he didn't get played against Andorra. I think that's good. As we mentioned when we did our mug of tea on Patreon. Was it last night? It was last. Funny, isn't it? We're pleased that Mikel Antonio didn't play. Well, we said something a little bit different. But it's a paraphrase. We're pleased that Mikel Antonio didn't play very much for Jamaica and didn't get injured. And I think it's been really interesting with Fornals there, as you mentioned. I think a lot of the time in international break, Geo, the West Ham training ground's been a busy place, and time's a little bit different now. I think half of the players leave. There's probably not how much they can work on really during the international period because half our players are gone, and that's testament to actually us having a slightly better standard of player, which is no bad thing.
Yeah, it's thoroughly exciting. International breaks. For those that don't know, I love it. I say love. I love watching Scotland and supporting Scotland. I don't usually love watching the 90 minutes, but we've had a successful international break. But usually, an international break, not often is West Ham players involved too much for the countries. And if they are, and I mean this with the greatest respect, it might be Antonio with Jamaica or Yarmolenko with Ukraine. And you don't pay too much attention to it. You sort of dismiss it a little bit. Like when Winston Reid went away and played international football for New Zealand, no one cared. Winston Reid's away, yeah, that's fine. No one looked for New Zealand. No one watched New Zealand see how Winston Reid got
It's a bit like, where's Wally? Where's Winston?
Yes, well, we're still playing that game at the minute. Nobody actually knows where he is. But this international break felt a bit different because we had Ben Rama coming off the bench for Algeria. We had Pablo Fornals coming off the bench and getting an assist for Spain, playing, then starting for Spain and scoring a goal as well. And, you got Declan Rice winning another man of the match award for England. Kurt Zouma starting for France. I mean, we've got players playing for top countries now, and it's thoroughly exciting. It really is exciting at the minute. Anyway, confident for Saturday afternoon?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Yeah, I am confident, actually, now you mention it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it'll be easy, though. So we we didn't tear into Southampton. I just think they might have sold one player too many this time. But they still have a good manager, Geo. And they have some decent players there. So I don't think it will be particularly easy. But I am confident we'll get a win. And if we can get a win, actually, maybe the Crystal Palace draw won't look too bad either, because you'll look at a points tally and think, actually, that ain't bad at all.
Yeah, I'm confident because of the form we're going into. While I've enjoyed international break, our players have shown good form. Fornals scoring in that as well. Declan Rice. So they've gone into that, played well for the countries, come back to Rush Green. They'll be buzzing. I think Southampton's going to need to be a little bit patient, I think, to let the new players adjust a little bit. And there's probably more pressure on SOUWHU to get the new players involved than there is on David Moyes. David Moyes isn't in a rush to get Nikola Vlasic in there kind of thing. But Southampton, their new centre-back, don't know who he is, there's probably a bit of pressure because Jack Stevens just isn't good enough as a Premier League centre-back. So it's almost like we have to get this guy into the team. And he's got to work. He's never played in Premier League before, but he's going to have to work. Otherwise, we're in trouble here. And we don't have that. I watched the game against Everton. I saw bits of the game against Everton, very end-to-end. It was a spirited display, I'd call it. Against Man U, I thought they were really good, Southampton. I thought Man U were all over them for the first half hour, and then bang, Southampton scored to make it 1-0. And they were unfortunate to not hold on to the win in the end. But while they worked hard, there was still evidence of just lacking that little bit of quality. And that's something I think that we aren't lacking at the minute. We do have players in really good form. And the one thing that stopped us against Crystal Palace was the bench. There was just nothing to change it. On Saturday, we've got an option now. We've got someone that cost nearly 30 million on the bench to come on and change that attacking dimension if we want to. And yeah, I'm confident. I'm really looking forward to it, actually, Gonzo. I'm really looking forward to West. Like I said, I enjoy international break. And I'm not glad it's over to some extent. But immediately after Scotland finished against Austria, I thought, now I cannot wait for Saturday. And on Saturday, when the final whistle goes, regardless of result, I'm going to be looking forward to Thursday. European football on Thursday. Come on, let's go. I'm just loving it at the minute. And that sort of generates optimism going into every game. You feel invincible a little bit, don't you? But anyway, with all that said and done, can I get any final words from yourself as well as your score prediction, please?
Yeah, just to echo what you said there, I am really looking forward to it. Yeah, 2 weeks is plenty, isn't it, for international football? I always find it a little bit too early because you just had the summer off, so you sort of just get into the rhythm of the Premier League and then it stops.
Do you know there's another international break in October?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And there's another one in November?
No, I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, okay, yeah, well, I mean, Okay, well, look, we're back to Premier League football anyway, so that's a really, really good thing. I'm excited to see the new players, but not so excited that I'm desperate for them to start, and that's really a testament to how well West Ham have played. In terms of the score, I think it might be an Everton score actually, which I think it was 3-1. I said that all confident that the score was 3-1, and I finished the sentence not confident. I think it was 3-1. I think West Ham win 3-1.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident as well. I'm not sure Moyes will start Zuma or Aviola. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we have an unchanged team from the side that faced Crystal Palace, which I would understand. And I think you're right. Actually, that's something I never really considered till you said it. And that is, I'm excited to see the new. Normally, there's almost like a desperation to get the new players involved because you want to see them, don't you? Had we signed Messi, I'd be like, he must start on Saturday. Get him in. I don't care how good Bowen's been. Get him out. But this time round with these signings, actually, it's like, while I'm excited to see them, I don't want any of the current 11 to sort of drop out, if you like. They don't deserve to. They're there on merit kind of thing. So if I would get it, I would be a bit disappointed to see Dawson ahead of Zuma, although I would understand it, given that he's probably had about a day or 2 days training with the players at most. So it's a little bit so. Yeah, but I'm confident regardless of what team we play, really. So I'm going to say Southampton 0, West Ham United 2, a comfortable win for West Ham. I think that would be the key word in the review. Comfortable, professional, whatever you want to call it. Basically, we're not amazing, but we got the job done without really being threatened. I think we're sensible of them. Anyway, shall we leave it there, my friend?
I think so, mate. I think we're about done.
Excellent. If you enjoyed this period, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, pop back on Saturday for everything you need on your match day. We'll have a build-up show, a watch along, a review, everything you need right here on Hammer's channel.